From the news cottage of the Brush Communication Network, Brush FM 94.7 MHz, Business News Watch. 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, and concise news forming about Liberia, Africa, and our global village. Today is Monday, July 5, 2021. And stories topping news watch. President George Weah takes delivery of France donated COVID-19 materials at his returns to the motherland. Amid the reopening of the state-run University of Liberia, the vibrant Student Unification Party suggests the imposition of 100% e-learning pronouncement made by the president of the university as a call for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Codes intensifies in the country. The human rights advocate Adaman Denso calls on the international community to speedily help set up the court. And government sees 140 school children in Kaduna State, Nigeria. And James Yakesin Foka fronting tonight. But first, the latest from the news center with Ruby Doro.
President George Weah has taken delivery of France donated COVID-19 material as he returns home. Upon arrival of the president at the Rabat International Airport on Saturday, July 3, from Paris, he welcomed the French government's COVID-19 emergency humanitarian aid to Liberia, promising that the donation will be utilized properly to fight the raging pandemic. The France ambassador to Liberia presented to President Weah 56,800 rapid antigenic tests as well as 4 associated transport respirators to aid in strengthening the government's capacity to continue the COVID-19 pandemic. The French ambassador stated that his package is a fulfillment of pronouncements made by President Emmanuel Macron last week during a meeting with the Liberian Ministry of Health. He has since urged the Ministry of Health to reorganize, decentralize, and speed up COVID-19 tests across the country. As a means of curtailing the new strain of COVID-19 in Liberia, Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Tamakoji is encouraging Liberians to keep wearing nose masks in order to be safe. Speaking to newsmen at the Ominga community, Mayor Koji indicated that the government of Liberia is sensitizing citizens to be aware of the danger the virus poses. The city mayor further stated or stressed that the new strain of COVID-19 is a war that Liberians need to cooperate in fighting from the country. The CDC UN chairperson, however, cautioned citizens to follow health protocols, adding that the government cannot fight the deadly virus alone. The Monrovia City Mayor is calling on media practitioners to help with the proper dissemination of information as the fight against the new strain of the virus continues. He spoke during a visit to the Ominga community in Pinsville, Liberia, Monday. The executive director for the Center for Street Children Education has called on humanitarian organizations and goodwill individuals to help as his organization fights for parents' children. For in 2018, the CSCE has been in the vanguard of taking children whose parents died from Ebola from the streets, as well as providing education and some form of livelihoods for them. In an interview with reporters recently, Mr. Calvin Pazawe said if all humanitarian organizations can come to aid his organization, they will take more street children from the streets and provide a better living condition for them. The organization is currently operating in 3 counties in Liberia, including Grand Cape Mount, Bomi, and Bapolu. Mr. Pazawe said the organization currently has more than 250 kids and is providing education for them. Meanwhile, Mr. Pazawe said funding for the organization is being generated from the salary and goodwill individuals. The CSCE chief executive said the organization, with funding from one of its friends in the U.S., will begin creating awareness on the daily COVID-19 sometimes this month. He spoke in an interview with this station recently. As the country strives in the fight against COVID-19, Sando County is said to be without a single quarantine center. Making a disclosure to the station, our Sando County correspondent Sagashos Maguru said the country has recorded 5 new cases of the virus, but patients have been told to stay at their homes. Maguru said the situation is causing serious panic amongst citizens of the county. Our correspondent said the country is contemplating on using the youth center in Greenville as a quarantine center in the county. He said it was unthinkable for people who have been confirmed of the virus to be left at their various homes. Banwulu says Sando County may have an increase in the coming months if nothing is done to quickly address the situation. Banwulu spoke this morning via mobile phone from Greenville in Sando County. As the call for the establishment of the War Economic Crimes Court intensifies in Liberia, a human rights advocate, Adama Dempster, has called on the international community to speedily help set up the court. In an interview with the station, the Secretary General of the Civil Society and Advocacy Platform said the only way total peace can come to Liberia is when those who committed heinous crimes are brought to book to pay for their actions. He said it was now time to end the culture of impunity in the country. Mr. Dempster said it was unthinkable for those who allegedly committed heinous crimes to be in leadership in our country but not showing sign of remorse for their actions. He asked those opposing the establishment of the courts in the country to rethink as no post-war nation has ever held or had total peace and general reconciliation in the absence of justice. The African Transitional Justice Campaigner has called on all Liberians to fully support the establishment of the courts in the country. Mr. Adama Dempster spoke in an interview with Brush FM recently. And the county education officer of Nimba County, that's health officer of Nimba County, has alarmed over the shortage of vehicles as the country grapples with the Delta variant of the novel COVID-19. According to the Brush Communications Network Director for Rural Operations, the Nimba County CHO said the lack of vehicle is seriously impeding the works of the county health team in the fight against COVID-19. Dr. Nathan Doe also lamented that logistical support remain another bottleneck hampering the fight against COVID-19 in the county. Dr. Doe is meanwhile calling on the governor of Liberia through the Minister of Health to come to the aid of the county health team. The Nimba County CHO is also appealing to the Nimba County Legislative Caucus to help remedy some of the many difficulties the county health team is faced with. Up to press time, Nimba County has recorded 11 confirmed cases of the virus. According to the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, NPHIL, Liberia has so far recorded 4,918 confirmed cases of the virus, 2,464 recoveries, and 134 deaths. Well, that's Brush News What News Bulletin. It's back to you for continuation of the program.
Ruben Dolo and the News Bulletin. Let's begin lifting our top stories. President George Manuel takes delivery of France donated COVID-19 materials as returns home. Upon the arrival of President Weah at the Rabat International Airport on Saturday, July 3, 2021 from Paris, he welcomed the French government's COVID-19 emergency humanitarian aid to Liberia, promising that the nation will be utilized properly to fight the raging pandemic. Reporter Anand Finda Bonnet covered the event and now reports.
On Saturday, July 3, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manuel Weah, welcomed the French government's COVID-19 emergency humanitarian aid to Liberia, promising that the donation will help in the fight of the raging pandemic.
First of all, on behalf of our government, we want to again extend our thanks and appreciation to my counterpart, my good friend, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, for this wonderful gift. In France, we had a very good meeting. And, we have a good friendship. And I took the French and Liberia friendship very serious. And, what we see here today, you can see that as I said 3 years ago when I went to France, pourquoi pas la France n'aide pas le Libéria? Pourquoi la France ne sont pas présents sur le terrain? Et aujourd'hui, on voit ça commence. Et on est très content. We are very happy that we can feel the French present here in Liberia. We are very grateful. We are humble that it is a difficult period, time of pandemic, that the French government gave us all these corona intelligence. So we are very grateful. Thank you very much. We'll continue to build our relationships and strengthen it for the France and the bloc cooperation and bilateral relations. Je dis encore, quand tu me vois mon ami au téléphone, on a beaucoup apprécié et merci beaucoup encore. On est très content, on est très fiers. So, on va te promettre, tous, on voit là, ça va bien aider les gens. We'll make sure that every antigen here will go to the reason they give it to us. It will be monitored and will be distributed the way it should be. Thank you for saving life. Bravo la France. Merci la France.
At Ponte Rappo at the Raffles International Airport on Saturday from Paris, the ambassador to Liberia presented to President Weah 56,800 rapid antigenic tests and as well as transport respirators to help and strengthen the government capacity to contain COVID-19 fight. He stated that the donation is a fulfillment of pronouncement made by President Emmanuel Macron last week during a meeting with the Liberian leader. And he also said it will allow the Liberian Ministry of Health to reorganize and speed up COVID-19 tests across the country. I'm Anna Finabula.
Amid the reopening of the state-run University of Liberia, the Firebrand Student Unification Party SUP rejects the imposition of 100% e-learning pronouncement made by the president of the university. The party says an all-mask campaign is the best way forward. Speaking at a press conference on Monday at the main campus of the university, Alexander Peters said with the economic hardship in the country, it is inhuman, irrational, and reckless for the state-run university to come up with such imposition.
SUP rejects the imposition of a 100% e-learning pronouncement made by the president of the University of Liberia. Launches mass up campaign demands the administration of the University of Liberia to renovate the campuses of US to extend a stage of education. Calls on the general public to adhere to all preventive measures put in place by the government of Liberia. Comrades and friends, all patriots of the motherland, brothers and sisters in the struggle for economic freedom, social justice and peace in our lifetime, militants and cadres, always in the vanguard championing the struggle for justice and equality, and fellow ideologues of the vanguard free education party. We bring you superfluous fraternal revolutionary greeting from the powerful of Africa BKS repository of enlightenment, the larger mass-based student program movement, the pool of colors, the indomitable vanguard free education party. Conspicuous fact and statistic-based evidence to tear away from the contagious COVID-19 that is taking away life around the world has hit our country Liberia. High has taken many lives within a short period of time. But while COVID-19 is ravaging almost everywhere around the world, many countries and schools around the world are policies of democracy that portray equal participation to every individual in every sector of society. In this, many schools around the world give the students options wherein they are to decide on the face-to-face classes or the e-learning, which best suit them for subscription. In Liberia, the democratic state, like others, they seem to drive and public course to pull. The University of Liberia, which happens to be a state premier and most in one area for education, where the masses of people send their children to acquire tertiary education, is in reverse mode being honored a simple dictator of A. Julius Arrest, who does not meet the credential or standard of being president of a community country, but was appointed by the ex-Secretary now president of Liberia. Reverend Julius Arrest, president of the University of Liberia, due to his inability to stay in effect of the University of Liberia 4 nights ago on June 30, 2021, made a backlash for pronouncement to impose 100% e-learning on the student population of the University of Liberia. We all know technology is the feature and e-learning is embedded into technology. And currently, technology is one of the most powerful instruments that is driving the world to fast growth and development. But can only be applicable and well-protected environment and have the sophistication. Generally, the University of Liberia does not have the sophistication required to contain an e-learning platform on a 100% basis for over 16,000 students. This was just experienced in the just in the semester in the previous 100% in the semester.
Well, that's the voice of Alexander Peters of the Firebrand Student Unification Party. Of course, you hear him there. So, rejects the imposition of 100% e-learning pronouncement made by the president of the university. The executive director for the Center for Street Children Education has called on humanitarian organizations and goodwill individuals to help his organization fight for parentless children. Founded in 2018, the CSCE has been in the vanguard of taking children whose parents died from Ebola from the streets, as well as providing education and some form of livelihoods for them. In an interview with reporters recently, Mr. Calvin Passawe said that all humanitarian organizations come to the aid of his organization. They will take those street children from the street and provide a better living condition for them.
Street children education was founded 2018 due to the Ebola, and most of the children were parentless. And just came on Ghana on international human trafficking training. I think it's necessary to open a scholarship for children who were parentless during the Ebola crisis. Another time, start to pay children tuition, help the underprivileged, help the widow, and we are fully registered with the Liberian government. Have been accepted, accredited by the Liberian government. Also, the China Ministry was declaring with UNESCO, registered with UNESCO.
So, where are you getting your funding from? You're talking about working with underprivileged kids, paying their fees. How are you go about doing it?
I do that with my salary I generate from the Liberian Immigration Service, and also friends around also assist me because I'm doing well and taking initiative to help children to be educated.
So, how many counties are you operating?
Right now, in Kidman, Bomi, and Bapo in the Western County, I have 250 children on scholarship.
All right, so Mr. Basso, as we go through the time of the surge in COVID-19 cases, what's your organization doing in terms of helping parents who are devastated by this virus?
You know, in January, we should be there 250 bed arrests in Grand Kidman County, Medina. We check on all the NGO websites there, and then we're in Wido. We are trying to renovate some hand pumps in Wido also, but now we are undertaking a huge project in Kidman, Bomi, and Bapo on the 15th. We'll be doing a COVID awareness.
Ebola took the lives of some families or some parents from their children. Have you done another study to see if COVID-19 did the same in Liberia?
Ebola more dangerous than COVID-19. A lot of children were parentless, but this COVID-19 is not dangerous equal to Ebola. So we decided to do awareness and help the widows to food.
You just made mention of your support as your salary, go to the fact that you took a family to take care outside the NGO. So is there any message you want to pass to who be supporters or NGOs that can help you in carrying on your initiative?
Thank you so much. Our arm is open for assistance. We need copy books. We need books there. As school is about to open, I'm not taking pay for 6 months. Because the school is about to open, I have to put the children back into school. So our hands are open. Thank God, UCC, to Philadelphia, who did our rescue. We will just send some money for do a COVID awareness. Our arm is very, very open. We'll be happy when more people can help us for the children to be educated. But we educated child, educated nation.
So, are there plans to expand to other parts of the nation?
If we have more donations, if we have more people to come, we are planning to extend to Bomb County and Nima County.
Well, that's the voice of Mr. Calvin Passawe. He's the executive director for the Center for Street Children Education. As the call for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Code intensifies in the country, the human rights advocate Adaban Denso has called on the international community to speedily help set up the code. In an interview with this station, the Secretary General of the Civil Society and Advocacy Platform says the only way total peace can come to Liberia is when those who are committed heinous crimes are brought to book to pay for their action. He said it was now time to end the culture of impunity in the country. Mr. Densto said it was unthinkable for those who allegedly committed heinous crime to be in leadership in our country with no showing sign of remorse for their action.
First of all, people need to understand the meaning of war crimes and what constitutes war crimes and what are the laws that give room for war crimes to be punished. So if you understand it from that standpoint, then of course you know how to weigh in your debate or your argument. So first of all, there must be a war, and during the war, the crimes that constitute war crimes, once they are committed, then of course you can be able to establish establish that there have been a war crimes in the committed in the country or in the country. So in the absence of any crimes or crimes that constitute war crimes, then automatically you don't have a war crime. So the whole idea of a war crimes could establishment in Liberia, they come from the background of the Liberian Civil War. The Civil War that started in 1989, so between 1989 to 1997, and from 1997, we had a second round of civil war that came from 1999 to 2003. So between those periods, there were mass atrocities, human rights violations, and abuses that took place. And from all indications, investigations conducted, there were war crimes that were committed in those periods. And those who are connected to those crimes are the ones listed in the TRC process, and they have been recommended to be prosecuted by a war crimes tribunal, which we are advocating for. So our own position from the human rights standpoint, from transition justice standpoint, is that we should make use of the law that are laid down to prosecute war crimes. So under no circumstances a war crime prosecution is a feeling or is someone's opinion, but by way of law, it is by which war crimes can be prosecuted. So those who are saying they don't want a war crime, I mean, I'm sorry to say, they need to read and then be able to grab the reality of what constitutes war crimes and what are the laws that have been violated. International human rights law, international humanitarian law that call for the prosecution of war crimes. There is this issue about when people who are saying they don't want war crimes, we need to ask them, then what are they pushing for? Because if they are pushing against war crimes, then of course they are also helping to promote impunity. That is, they are giving room for future crimes to be committed when there's another round of conflict that occur in this country. So we want to encourage people to read between the lines before they come against certain provisions that no individual has the authority to stop by way of law. Those things have to be done. So automatically, people who don't want war crimes, they of course are in the process of perpetrating and encouraging impunity in the country. That is, they are protecting those who committed war crimes and protecting murderers in our country, and that is not good for our own country, it's not good for our peace, and there cannot be no peace without justice.
Well, that's the voice of Mr. Adaman Denso, of course. He's the Secretary General of the Civil Society Advocacy Platform. Here and there, talking about the establishment of the World and Economic Crimes Court. The Nima County CHO said the lack of vehicles is seriously impeding the works of the county health team in the fight against COVID-19. Dr. Letty Doe also lamented that logistical support remain another bottleneck hampering the fight against COVID-19 in the county. Dr. Doe has been calling on the governor of Liberia through the Ministry of Health to come to the aid of the county health team. Our colleague G. Augustine Down is in Nima County and he reports.
We can say the policy of Nima that mentally prepared that the country has been seriously diverted when it comes to logistics. That is seriously the fight against COVID-19 in Nima. I will recall a year of late feeling the outbreak of the virus, and Nima has so far reported to the here in Myanmar, all the two members of the Nima County legislative process will respect to the consent made by the county health officer. We spoke with Senator Jeremiah, who was just sent the phone call that the government is working on modalities to ensure that they can make some intervention because we elected as leaders of the county to represent the interest and welfare of the people. and so the government had the first meeting of late, and they are literally convening the politics of the meeting so that they can be able to put some resources together to help the country fight the virus.
So another aspect that is very key to the fight against COVID-19, it has to do with the quarantine center, where those who are diagnosed of the virus, where are they then kept?
So what the president will confirm as the all their funding at the Benson and Georgia Medical Center is a medical hospital here in Ganta, constructed by First District Memorial Representative John Arthur Center, and the hospital is now divided into two departments. That one of the departments is patients who deal with other illnesses like malaria and rest of the world, and there is a specific department that is there is dedicated all these different faculties to treat specific cases of the COVID-19. So if people are confirmed, they are now transferred from
Well, that's the voice of PMR Group of Companies, Director General of Rural Operations, G. Augustine Down. If you just join us, you are indeed listening to Blues Wash on the Brush Communication Network, Brush FM 94.7 GHz. 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, and concise news forming about Liberia, Africa, and elsewhere. Stories stopping those watch tonight. President George Barney Weah takes delivery of France donated COVID-19 materials as he returns to the motherland. Amid the reopening of the state-run University of Liberia, the Firebrand Student Unification Party SU rejects the imposition of 100% e-learning pronouncement made by the president of the university as they call for the establishment of the War in Economic Crimes Court intensifies in the country. And human rights advocate Adam and Denster calls on the international community to speedily help set up the call. And in the foreign news, gunmen seize 140 school children in Kaduna State, Nigeria. At this juncture, we take a break to be right back with our foreign news.
Gunmen in Nigeria have kidnapped at least 140 school-going children in the northwest of the country, police say. At least 8 people were also abducted from the National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Center in Ziara early on Sunday morning. 2 nurses and a 12-month-old child were among those seized, said a health or hospital worker. There has been a recent spate of adoptions from schools and universities for ransom. On Monday, reports emerged of another mass kidnapping from a school near Kaduna City, about 80 kilometers southwest of Zara. The mother of a 15-year-old girl who was kidnapped from Bethel Baptist School told the BBC that 140 school children have been seized by a large group of armed men who were around motorbikes and broke down the fence. In a statement, police said gunmen overpowered the school's security guards and made their way into the students' hostel, where they abducted an unspecified number of students into the forest. A total of 226 people, including a female teacher, have been rescued, the statement added. A local Christian leader said there were also 180 students in the school, only 2 of whom have been accounted for so far. However, he says some of them may have escaped. The UN's refugee agency say it is alarmed by reports of attacks on Eritrean refugees in Ethiopia's war-torn Tigray region. A spokesman for the UNHCR's Ethiopia office told the BBC they received reports from online and other sources that hundreds of Eritrean refugees in the western town of Shire have allegedly been killed. We take these reports very seriously and have immediately reached out to our staff, partners, and Eritrean refugees in Shire, Nafin Chekovic said in an email to the BBC. Rice Adive said they have received reports that many refugees were brutally killed by local militaries, but it's difficult to confirm the reports as there is a communication blackout in the region following the withdrawal of Ethiopian troops from Tigray last week. However, it is not clear how federal authorities can guarantee the safety of the refugees as they were no longer in Tigray. About 100,000 Eritreans were in refugee camps when war broke out in Tigray in early November. 2 of the 4 camps were near or were later discovered destroyed. Many of more than 200 or 20,000 refugees who have been sheltered in the camps are still unaccounted for. Eritrean forces who have been fighting on the side of the Ethiopian government army were accused of kidnapping refugees. Eritrean refugees denied the allegation. Sabeda and Hastes camps were located in northwestern Tigray, not far from the European or Eritrean border. More than a year after the death of Ethiopian musician Akilu Hadisa, 3 individuals have been found guilty by an anti-terror and constitutional court in Addis Ababa. Talahun Yamen and his 2 accomplices, Kabeti Kamechi and Adit Amalu, will be sentenced in 10 days. Talon was found guilty of violating the anti-terror law, while Kemedi was convicted of ordinary homicide or murder. Abdi was found guilty of a lesser charge by canceling information about the plane. Ashley's killing sparked widespread violence in Addis Ababa and in the country's largest state, Omara, where more than 20 or 200 people were killed. The violence also led to the arrest of prominent opposition figures, many of whom remained jailed. Our colleagues or our correspondents say there are more political prisoners as a result of this. Well, that's it from the foreign news desk. It is back to you for continuation of Newswatch.
Congratulations to Ruben Dodo for the foreign news. Let's begin checking out futures, and of course, we beginning with the partial blast post where our Ben Ezekiel as Menemuno is well posted to bring us
The Labrador Football Association has begun an intermediate refresher course for Class B Reverend at the George Weah Technical Center in Carisburg. Instructor Jason Joseph Jamo of Seychelles and Infram Mazingo of Malawi, who were appointed by FIFA, are ongoing with the facilitation of the course from July 5 to 9, 2021. Jamo and Mazingo are assisted by LFA Secretary General Isaac Montgomery, Reverend Director Ebenezer Stanley Conan, Stephen Caffey, J. Exeter Flange, Sylvester Johnson, and Ruben Gee. According to an update from the Labrador Football Association, 25 participants drew from Grand Bassa, Grand Cayman County, McGill, Monserrato, and Nimba are undergoing the course, and they include Annika, Grace Thomas, Grace Wu, Krubo Boliman, Sarah Saki, and Joyce Dan. Others are A. Nathan Harris, Abraham P. Kamara, Andrew Moba, Andrew P. Wallace, Marcus Clay, Benito Momo, Charles Weber, Emmanuel Tai, Infram Bering, and Eugenio B. Morris. The rest include John Farah, Martin S. Barr, Moses Sion, Musa Sisse, Nehemiah E. Tobot, Preston Kesey, Roger P. Brown, Salia Kroman, and Sylvester Sion. They are to review the amendment of the made by the laws of the game for the 2021 and 2022 upcoming league season with group discussion, review of videos, oral and written test. And informed Liberian forward Leon Taylor scored his second hat trick of the campaign yesterday in the Burma Super League as his side Kasuka FC brushed South Football Club BSRC 4-0 in their third league feature of the season. Taylor, who has been on fire since the kickoff of the league, scored in both halves of the match, respectively, to increase his goal tally to 8 of the campaign out of 3 matches so far. As it stands, Kasuka now have 9 points from 3 league games in the ongoing Burma Super League, and away from home, the European Championship continues tomorrow in the semi-final stage at the famous Wembley Stadium in London. Roberto Mancini's Italy take on possession-based Spain as the tie looked intriguing between both sides. In their recent meeting in Euro 2016, the Azuris cruised perfectly with a 2-0 win over the La Rojas of Spain. Albeit, the Spaniards have trashed the Italian 4-0 in the 2012 Grand Final in Ukraine, Kiev, and progressed with a 1-0 win in Euro 2008. Also, the 3 Lions of England are in for a great quest against the Denmark. England, managed by Gary Southgate, were too strong for Andrei Shevchenko, Ukraine, in the quarterfinal and boast of a clean sheet in the tournament. The Danish came up with a 2-1 triumph over Czech Republic and looks set to repeat the 1992 fairy tale on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And back to you, James Jackerson Folkpark, for the continuation of the news.
Thank you. As the country struggles in the fight against COVID-19, Sano County is said to be without a single quarantine center. Making a disclosure to this station, our Sano County correspondent Sagashas Bangu said the county has recorded 5 new cases of the virus, but patients are being told to stay at their homes. Bangu said the situation is causing serious panic amongst citizens of the county.
That county has recorded 5 cases of the coronavirus with 1 death recorded and a fatality of this yesterday. The many patients who come down, or people who come down with the coronavirus are shut down because of the virus policy center. During the first week of the coronavirus,
Sagada, are you saying there is no quarantine center in Sando County?
Absolutely no quarantine center. During the first week of the coronavirus, the Sando Youth Center was used at county center, and another building outside of Greenville was revamped. That was constructed by XP. It was one of the buildings that were used as county center. Those buildings, right after the third week of the coronavirus, were talking right to the bigger entities. And I would say the youth of private clubs have actually protested against the use of the youth center, the Solo Youth Center, as county center. And that's why too many people have come down house in the county, everything have come down from there because of the county. Can you imagine if this the person, you're talking with our county center in whatever point?
That's the voice of our Sano County correspondent Sagashas Bangu. Of course, you hear him there reporting that the country struggles in the fight against COVID-19. Sano County is said to be without a single quarantine center. Well, that development, that's how we leave you on today's presentation of Bros News Watch. 45 minutes of news, views, comments, and analysis forming about Liberia, Africa, and elsewhere. Bros News Watch returns at 6 a.m. with more captivating stories. Thanks for listening. Reverend Dodo brought us our news bulletin, presented the foreign news. Ezekiel Menemuno was here with the Passion of Life Sports. Thanks to our reporters and correspondents for making this edition of News Watch a success. And thanks to Joshua Wright, who's been on camera, and Luis Farah as well, who ably coordinated this presentation. I'm James Yakesin Fogba, our anchored. Good night.